home built combination here. Played with it, listened to it for quite some time without changing anything. And here's what the feedback is so far. Right now, they beat the pants out of the RTI A7s. There is highs there and stuff in music I've never heard before, and it's very enjoyable. I'm actually listening to it full time. It's part of the surround setup. So even when we're watching movies, I have it on. And the odd time I'll take and I'll just turn it off and just let the RTI A7 pick it up. And I can tell you right away, the vocals, any kind of people talking, it's just way clearer. The SB Acoustics tweeter that's in there, I'm very impressed with it. I'm impressed with all of it. It just sounds really good. It's complete. It's a much better speaker than what I had. That being said, what would I do differently, or what's the plan? What am I doing now going forward? Am I going to take this thing, make a nice box for it, or am I going to keep playing? Well, the short answer is I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to tell you why. For starters, when I was picking these components, I did not know what I was doing at all. This was supposed to be a two-way that left me wanting for more, so I ended up adding a speaker, then making it into a three-way. And now this setup is whatever. It's not as well thought out as it should be. This speaker should probably be in a sealed enclosure. The tweeter should be closer to this. The subwoofer should be closer to the mid-range to address the phasing issue that I had with it initially. So yes, I know they're just in a test box. And the other purpose of what I was doing here is just learning how to build a speaker. Like, where do you start? So, step one, I should have picked different components. What would I do if I could do this again differently from the start? I would pick different components. The 10 or 8 inch, whatever that is, I think it's an 8, that's at the bottom there, picking up the woofer duty. I would much prefer that was a 12-inch speaker. I found this in the past too. Anything short of a 12 for my listening preferences, what I like to hear, it's got to be at least a 12. And I would way sooner, I think, have a 12 that's in a sealed box to have tighter, cleaner bass. Nothing wrong with what this thing is putting out. It sounds good. But I really like a tight, clean sound. So I think that's what I would do differently. I would put this I would make a 12-inch speaker. And then I would probably put a 5-inch, maybe 2 5s. And that would balance out the tweeter as well. Right now I'm having to put a ton of resistors in to tame that tweeter down because it's capable of much more than the other two drivers. Or the efficiency is higher. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So as I'm looking through this and I'm going through online and kind of trying to pick out my components, I kind of go across what speaker I'd pick today, and I was looking at the SB Acoustics SB34NRX 75-6. It's a 6 ohm 12-inch woofer that gets really good reviews on anybody that's built a custom speaker box. So this is probably what I would go with. I mean, the only downside of this thing in a sealed box is it needs 2.6 to 4 cubic feet of box. And yes, I know I could get a lower F3, and it even says so right underneath here in the description if I put it into a ported enclosure. But like I said, if I'm doing it again, I'm probably only going to do this once. I'm going to build these towers and probably stick with them indefinitely. If they turn out as well as I want, I'll do surround speakers and whatnot, but I want a tower that really that satisfies all of what I want without having to rely at all on a sub. Nothing wrong with relying on a subwoofer, but just to really take my game up a notch, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so I was looking at this thing. and thinking this might be the speaker driver for me for the bass duty. And then with the mids, I would probably go with something like this, the two SB acoustics again, the RX2 C30s, and these are two 5s for mid duty. Again, they get good reviews and they're producing a solid sound. The other thing that's nice is it's easy for me to put that into, if I build a big box, that bigger enclosure that's required for that 12-inch woofer. These things require almost nothing of a box, a sealed box of 0.1 cubic feet. So I can easily build these in and don't have to worry about that box getting a whole heck of a lot bigger, because 4 cubic feet is already a big box, let's be honest here. As far as the tweeter, I think these components together would go pretty close to just using that tweeter right in that setup. And then I start looking around, and after I've kind of looked at these components and what I would do again, and I go and I discover the ZAF Audio SB 12.3. So now I'm wondering if somebody that clearly knows a heck of a lot more about building speaker boxes than I do has built this system with, I mean, the only component that I've picked differently here was the tweeter. And it's probably because the tweeter that's available in this kit is no longer available for regular sale. But then I'm looking at it going, well, if it has all the same components that I already want, maybe I should just build these ZAF audio speakers for my front two and go with that. I don't know, feedback from you guys, chuck it in the description. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. In the end, why spend all this money testing and running crossovers, etc., if somebody already has a kit like this? I've already looked for center channels, rear channels, for those of you that are already wondering if I'm just going to end up going with kit speakers for the whole setup. That's probably where I'm going to end up spending my time if I end up building these things. I'm humming and hawing on it and haven't quite come to a conclusion. There's a fly in here that's been driving me nuts. 1 second. Bullseye. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing right now. I think that kit is it's going to fulfill what I'm after. The room that I'm in, my listening room, I mean, you guys can take a look. This room is massive, so I think that kit would be a good fit for the size of my listening space. Yeah, I can only hum and haw. There's a couple of reviews on it. They're reviewed highly by people that have built them. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of what my current thought is right now. If I do decide to get the kit and buy these things, I will end up putting it on the channel. I'll take you guys through me building this thing and actually trying to make a decent looking speaker box out of the whole deal and putting it together. But very much would appreciate the feedback of the people that have been following me build these two on the channel. Give me some words of wisdom. What would you guys do? Which kit would you guys build if you had a chance to build any kit that you found? And there's quite a few of them out there. There's quite a few different kit websites of guys that are spending way more time and effort than I've already spent with this and have done or have been in this hobby a heck of a lot longer. That's where I am today. What I'll end up doing, I haven't totally decided yet, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Enjoying what I've got for listening, not enjoying looking at it because it's pretty hideous. But if I'm going to do something, why take it to like a 6 on the scale when I can easily push it up to a 9 or 10? I guess that's where I'm weighing in. I guess when I figure out what I'm going to do, I will post back on the channel. In the meantime, I'm not just going to put you guys on pause. I'm going to do some reviews of some of the other components that I have that I've really enjoyed for people that are looking at picking up some of their own components and kind of getting more into the um, higher end audio scene, maybe. I don't know if I'd consider myself an audiophile. I probably am, given what people describe me as when it comes to the way I like to listen to my music. I've got a lot of sound settings memorized of where I like things and which components I'll run through, and the setup to for specific songs even. So maybe that classifies me as an audiophile. Maybe the components I have classify me as a nub. I don't know. Whatever. Once I figure out what I'm doing and where I'm going to go with this next, I will put the video on the side and I'll take you guys through what's next on the channel. But I'm not done. I just haven't figured out where to go.